Google Sheets lesson 5, I think it is now. Last lesson, we did conditional formatting. Toward the end of that lesson, I suggested that it wasn't necessary to write a conditional format for every cell in this range and every possible value. I'm going to show you what I mean by that now. So I'm going to click on this one cell and go to Format, Conditional Formatting. You'll notice it lists 5 different conditional formattings, and not just for this cell. It shows these cell ranges, C3 to H18. By the way, whenever you see cells listed this way, they'll list the top rightmost one first, and a colon, and the bottom leftmost one second. And it's saying everything in the box that has that top left corner and that bottom right corner. That's called a cell range. That will become important later on because I'll show you how to do what are called range formulas. But for now, we can see that this conditional format applies to the range C3 to H18 as to all of them. This is in that range, so it's showing everyone that's within that range. Let's suppose we delete this one. Just hit the trash can. It deletes it, okay? And now, rather than using a conditional formatting rule, I want to show you a different approach. What you could say is, until you earn one of these numbers higher than 59.5, you've got an F. And so what we can do is highlight this entire range here, and rather than conditionally format that, make the default format be red background. Notice what this does. The default format, the format that I just applied to the sheet without going into conditional formatting, is what we see, again, by default for that range. If you go to conditional formatting for these cells, if I go to Format, Conditional Formatting, that rule does not appear. It is not a conditional format. It is the default format. These special conditions will override that. And in fact, as it turns out, these are applied in this order. So first the default is applied. If the default is overridden by this, this will apply. But if this one is overridden by this, in other words, if I were to write this so that these were overlapping, right now they're non-overlapping, but if I wrote these as overlapping values, then the second one up would override the one below it, and the third one up. So the first rule you put in is of greatest importance. And as they come down, so if this is not true, then it checks to see if this is true. If this is not true, it checks to see if this is true. If this is not true, it checks to see if this is true. And if none of these are true, then it goes to the default. So that's how that works. Your conditional format rules do have a hierarchy of application. Just a little something I wanted to show you there. By the way, you can edit these as well still. So you can go in and go to conditional format. And you're like, that purple's a bit much. Maybe what I want to do is maybe a more muted purple like that. And I can click Done. I can click on this one, and maybe that green is, blinding me. I don't like it. Maybe I want to do this green. I can click Done. You guys probably have much better artistic vision than I do about things. You might have a better idea of what looks good to you as opposed to what doesn't. And this is a way to choose stuff that is more to your liking. That is actually a nicer looking page. And speaking of nicer looking, let me show you some other tricks. One is this column is super wide for the numbers that I have in it. If you move your cursor up to where these letters are here, and you go right on the boundary between the C and the D columns here, your cursor will actually change from this arrow that we have, which may or may not show up on Loom, I don't remember, to another symbol that's like a little white arrow pointing in both directions, and you get a dark blue line there. If you click that and drag it, you can make those columns narrower or larger. Sometimes you'll want to do that by hand. Other times, though, this is kind of cool, if you have it in that mode, if you have your cursor set up so that dark blue line shows up, and you double click, it auto scales. It makes that column the size of the largest entry in the entire column. And so you can go along and do that for each of these columns. And that's one way of sort of cleaning these up, make them look a little nicer in your spreadsheet. I don't really need these right now. This is a demonstration, so it doesn't matter. So I can do that for all these columns, which is kind of cool. It makes it tighter, neater, a little easier to see more of the spreadsheet that way. Another thing that really could make this better is let's take all of these values on the top here. Let's make them bold. And all these values along the side here. Put those in bold like that. That's a little cleaner, a little easier to read. Another thing I could do is I can mess with borders. Now, borders are a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of do this one, and from here you can play around with it and figure it out. I'm going to select the entire interior of my table here, and I'm going to click on the borders button, and it gives you some options. First option to pay attention to, not that one, sorry, is this one. You can make borders that are thin lines, medium lines, heavy lines, dotted lines, fine dotted lines, and double dotted lines. In this case, I'm going to go with the fine line setting. Okay, so that's changing what my border is going to be. And then if I click this, it'll make the border of every selected cell of that type. So I'm going to click this. As you can see, it puts that grid in there. It kind of cleans that up, makes it look a little prettier. The next thing I'm going to do, and watch this, is going to be interesting. I'm going to leave my selection there, and I'm going to go to heavy borders. Oops, I didn't want it to do that. Let me see here. Let me do outer borders is heavy, and then let me change this interior borders here like this, and switch the interior borders to fine. And so what that does is by having, when I'm on outer borders, which is just the perimeter of this, and I set this to be heavy, and then when I go to here, the inner borders, and I set them to be fine, it gives you kind of a cool looking thing here where you got a heavy border around the figure, and then you've got these light interior borders. Those can be really nice. Similarly, I might want to take all of this and give this a heavy outer border like that. Looks like that. Maybe I want to give it interior borders that are light as well. So that looks pretty good. And then down this way, I probably shouldn't have included that top. Let me take that top one, go up here to the borders, and let me just choose no borders. It deletes all the borders of that. Let me choose this one. And now this is kind of interesting. I can go in and just make the, see, nothing's selected here yet. So I can change the border style to heavy and just add that heavy sideboard. Notice that didn't change any of the other borders on this particular grid. I also can go over here, click on this, right click here, and I can insert a row. So that kind of sets it off from the top, so it's real clear to see what's going on there. Maybe these guys down here, I want them to have heavy exterior borders, and then go to my interior borders and make them light like that. So I've kind of cleaned up this table. It looks a little bit better this way. You know, you might want to play around with the borders you put on that cell or that cell, or maybe you do want this cell to have a border. I don't know. But this is a way to kind of clean it up, playing around with borders, playing around with cell height, column width, changing your colors a little bit. Some neat things you can do. By the way, you could also, if you wanted to, you know, maybe make all of these have a font that's a little bigger. If you wanted these to be 12 point, but everything inside to be 10 point, so you can change your font there as well. Nothing really earth-shattering about this. You probably understand a lot of this. There is one other thing. Oops, since I made the font bigger, I need to change my spacer. One other thing I want to mention briefly about these borders, about cell formats, is, well, I've forgotten. Oh, I know what it is. This is FR, which can be kind of confusing. I could type in free response like this, but now you see it runs over. I could do this, and it makes it big enough for that, but maybe what I really want is for the word response to appear on the next line down. Rather than using up two cells to do that, or two rows, row 2 and row 3, there's this thing called wrap text wrapping. If you click the down arrow here, there are a couple of options. There's overflow, which is what it does right now. There's clip, which does this. It just cuts it off. So even though I have the full free response typed in, it's clipping it off. I don't think that's what I want. And then that's what's called text wrapping. If you choose text wrapping, what it does is it allows the text in that one cell to wrap around. So that can be kind of useful at times as well. So text wrapping, another cool little feature you can have on here. Additionally, you can go into here and have this be centered like that. See if your response goes that way. Or maybe in this case, oops, wrong button. In this case, I might like it to be like that more. That looks better to me. Anyway, a little bit of quick how to make it a little prettier. I like it pretty. You get a little extra credit on every assignment you do where you spent some time showing me you're really trying to impress me. Think of me as your boss at a job, and if you turned in a spreadsheet that looked like this did when I started, he might throw up a little bit and give you a bad review. But if you got one that was prettier like this, or even better, I'm sure you guys can come up with stuff that looks better than this, he might give you a raise. You don't know. You never know.